Here in Manitoba, winter just seems to not want to let go.
Oh my God, when is it ever going to end?
I hate snow.
Does this look like springtime to you?
No.
As southern Manitoba prepares for a Colorado low,
A Colorado low brings hazardous winter weather lasting for several days.
that will bring us 15 to 25 centimeters of snow, we're going to take a look at how this spring measures up against Manitoba's worst springs with the help of the senior climatologist at Environment Canada.
Worst spring ever.
We are expecting a lot of snow today, but how does that compare to?
You know, I think we've known Colorado lows for a long time, but I think it was that one, Joanne, that really struck fear in the hearts of Manitobans because it really brought, it was like 4 days. It began on the 4th of April and went right through to the 8th or to the 7th. And we had, in fact, I think in total, about 48 centimeters of snow.
48 centimeters in 1997 versus up to 25 today. All right, well, I guess 1997 wins the snowiest spring. But what about the coldest spring?
Boy, 1996 was a much colder spring. That March that year there were over half the days were below minus 20.
Around 7 days in 1996 to 6 days this year. Well, I would call this one a tie. But what about the wettest spring?
And then we got to March, April, May. That spring was 3.5 times the amount of precipitation you normally would get in the springtime. And you had, of course, it resulted in flooding, not just in the Red River, but every river in Manitoba.
So it's a little too soon to tell, but it doesn't look like it's going to be that wet outside this year. So verdict, this year's looking pretty good. But have you heard of Manitoba's most bizarre spring?
There were spring dust storms. They called them black blizzards on the prairies. But on that day, it was actually at noon in Winnipeg. It was like midnight. You couldn't see anything. You couldn't see the street lights. Birds returned to their nests. Women walking along Portage Avenue were caked in mud.
Now that we have better soil management, the dust storms that were popular through the 1930s aren't really an issue today. And I think that's a good thing because I don't know about you, but I would take a snowstorm over a dust storm any day. Verdict, we have nothing over the 1930s. We've seen some pretty intense storms here in Manitoba, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that this one is not going to be a record-breaking year.